Hello, Power Up Nation. I'm Pat Council, and then let's talk about 7 things that still work in business. This is Thriving Thursday, the day where you get tips on how you can thrive in your business. It's amazing how we have all of these different artificial intelligence programs that can really boost your business, and yet people don't fully use them. First of all, in a way such that it will promote their business in a better way. And secondly, to increase their work productivity. Now, when I say to increase their work productivity, they go to ChatGPT or Copilot. There's several others, and I have a whole list of them, you guys. And one of these days, I'm going to share it with you, give it to you as a download. But for today, let's talk about things that will keep your business going, that will help it work, that will help you succeed no matter what. But you guys get the picture about that there are a lot of artificial intelligence programs that you can use. And the thing about that is people will they will use them, and a lot of times they don't do very much with the information that they get from these different artificial intelligence programs. When we get stuck, guess what? We can go to an AI program and get unstuck. We can help it create things for us that would take us hours to create on our own. However, I heard this and I saw this, that there has been a study done by MIT that to determine the impact of artificial intelligence on the brain. And of course, in a nutshell, and you could probably Google this and get the study or read about the study. And one of the things that it does, it affects your creativity. It affects your imagination. Okay, so the thing where I'm going with this is that there are some things that will always work in business. They still work, and I think they're going to work 20 years from now, 100 years from now, as long as people are in business. And because eventually, artificial intelligence is very new. So, you know how things work. What happens is something that new comes out. Congress hasn't had a chance to kind of jump into it and find out, number one, how can they tax it and make money from it? And number two, how they can regulate it. And some of that's good and some of it's not, but that's not the purpose of today's podcast. But the point I'm getting to here is that there are things that will always work, whether you have artificial intelligence around or not. So I'm going to share 7 things that still work in business. And these are very basic things. And however, it seems as though people are getting away from these very basic things. Understand this: if you've been inspired with a business idea and you want to bring that business idea to the table, then it's important that you do that. But here's the thing about being inspired with a business idea. That inspiration came in the name of authenticity. So when something comes in the name of authenticity, then what that means is you're supposed to use that authentic idea, develop it as best as you can, develop the idea as best as you can, write down some concepts and things without using any kind of artificial intelligence, any kind of technology. And I mean, you could probably use some kind of word program. However, for me, if I get an idea, I actually still love good old fashioned pen and paper, because I don't want technology interfering with my thought process. Okay, the idea didn't come through technology, so I don't need technology to help me develop a picture or develop what it is I want to, the steps, the concept of the business. So authenticity still works in business. It is very important. because when you get this idea that it has been authentically inspired, understand this, that this idea was given to you because it is going to solve some kind of problem, some pain point, some challenge that people are having. And the challenge is not always something medical or something of that nature. Okay, it could be, but sometimes it's just people perhaps need a different kind of entertainment so they can have a good outlet. Actually, I guess that is kind of medical because it helps your mental health, which, all right, it's not medical. Let's just say it helps your mental health. But let's press on. So the first one would be authenticity. And we are, a lot of people see an idea and they go, wow, I wish I thought of that. And then some people see an idea that's been developed and it's out there and they go, I thought of that. And they did nothing with it. And the ones who wish they thought of it, listen, put your attention on developing anything that has inspired you. Jot it down and pay attention to it. So authenticity is the first thing. Secondly, this one, and this seems to be difficult, and apparently technology, artificial intelligence, television, the different streaming apps, and all of the things that are going on around us interferes with this one. And this is consistent and focused work. Okay. Now that is one thing. Okay. Because you need both at the same time. Okay. You have to consistently work and you have to stay focused on what you're working on. And I have to tell you guys that for me, I have learned to turn everything off to include closing my computer at times, unless I'm working on the computer. But if I'm not, I close it because I want to really hone in and focus on whatever it is I'm writing, whatever it is I am creating on paper. And then I can go back to my computer once I'm done. But consistently focused work. I block out a period of time that I'm going to work on that particular project, that particular idea, and I develop it. Because I have a lot of ideas that run through my mind and I have a lot of things that I want to accomplish. And so because of that, my mind can bounce from one thing to the next. In other words, I'm working on something and then another idea pops up and I go, oh, this is good. So I block out time. Okay, I'm going to work on this. Now, if an idea pops up while I'm working on one idea, I have a little notebook to the side and I just jot that idea down and then I come back to what I'm working on. That kind of works for me. I don't know what works for you, but find a way to be consistent. Okay, one of the ways I'm consistent, not everybody has to, I guess, write things down. People say keep a things to do list. I'm one of those people who say that. And sometimes things to do list does not work for you. Okay. But for the most part, I think it works for the majority of us because it gives you a snapshot of what your day is going to look like or what it has to look like so that you can achieve the goals that you've set. So, but I have my things to do list. And what I do is I block out how much time I'm going to spend on a particular item on that list. Okay. Whatever's most important, I take care of that first. Okay. So with that being said, so we got authenticity. We've got being consistent and being consistent and being focused on your work. So the third one is confidence. I know I talk about confidence a lot, but I have to tell you guys, it is super important that you develop your confidence when it comes to building your business, when it comes to running that business, when it comes to getting that business to a certain level of success. Now, there's two reasons. Number one, your business, if it is an authentically inspired idea, your business is designed to fund your lifestyle, to make sure that you're okay, to help you earn money so that you can take care of yourself, so that you can take care of your family, so that if you have the overflow of abundance, and you can have that you can help others who are in need, those that you decide that you want to help, where you feel led to help, so that you can help family members. This is just an aside. I've heard some people talk about, well, I'm not giving my family anything. They always have a handout, or they always want something. And you know what? That might be true. But the same organizations or the same people that you're helping, well, they always need something. And while their hands may not be out so blatantly because there's no air of familiarity, nevertheless, their hand is still out. And I cannot imagine helping a bunch of strangers when you have the opportunity to help people, well, where you share similar DNA. Now, to each his own, and you have to do what works for you, but that's just my little aside. So the point is, you want to have that confidence so that you can build your business. Let's get back on track. And I find that when people are out there, they get these great ideas, they know what to do, and they do nothing. And they procrastinate. Now, I talked about this in, I believe, yesterday's podcast, Is Your Ego Preventing You from Growing and Succeeding? And I explained a little bit about procrastination. So we're not going to talk about that on this podcast. I'll put that podcast in the show notes. You can click on it. You can listen to it because it's important that we tame the ego. But that was yesterday's message. So back on point here. Confidence is extremely important. We get these great ideas. We want to make something amazing happen. And then guess what? We only go as far as perhaps sharing it with someone else. Or we don't share it with anyone else, but we walk around with this idea, kind of in a silent agony, if you will, because there's something that's constantly pushing us to take action. Take action, act on this idea, move forward, do something. And you can see it from beginning to end almost, because that means you're being called to do something that's going to make some things better. Okay. And it's going to make you better as well. That includes you. So with that being said, confidence is a big deal, and it still works in business. Not only does it still work, I think it's going to work forever. You can have 100 artificial intelligence programs. However, if you don't have the confidence to even follow the instructions given to you by artificial intelligence because you're worried about what the rest of the world thinks, well, your business is not going to flourish. And listen, been there, done that. But here's what I've learned about confidence, and then we're going to move on. One of the things I've learned about confidence, if you want to increase your confidence, study, learn your craft, learn it as like it's a part of you. Okay. And whatever that business idea is, if it's connected to your gifts and talents and you just practice that, and practicing, it's not necessarily speaking, singing, dancing, that kind of thing. It's not necessarily what I call service-based or what is called service-based. Okay. It can be a product. I mean, test the product, share the product with a group, a test group, see how it comes back. If they come back and they love it, that's going to boost your confidence to an all-time high. And then you're going to want to release that to the rest of the world. And here's the other thing. Don't take yourself too seriously. When it comes to confidence, a lot of times we're concerned with what the rest of the world is going to think of us. There's always going to be somebody who's going to say something rude, who's going to challenge what you're saying. Let that be their issue. You don't have to defend. I have taught myself not to defend. Okay. Because believe me, speaking is one of my gifts, but also the ability to give a pretty good retort is also a great gift of mine. I don't know if I'll call that a gift. All right. So, however, that means I can verbally defend myself. So the point that I'm making is, but I've taught myself it's not even worth it. It's not worth my energy. It's not worth my time, because at the end of the day, whatever product I produce, it seems like thousands and thousands of people love it. And so I'm only interested in those people. Now, if thousands and thousands of people hated it and there was nobody was paying attention to it, then still, confidence would tell me you need to regroup and redo that project. Okay, make it better. So with that being said, confidence is extremely important. Let's move on. The all-time favorite, discipline. Discipline is always going to work in business. Why? Because you need discipline to implement. You need discipline to act. So you have to kind of, I guess, match discipline and confidence together, and you're like unstoppable. But discipline is extremely important. So what is the big deal about discipline? Discipline, when you establish a certain discipline, what you're doing is you're establishing your work ethic. You're establishing your code. In other words, what's acceptable for you and what isn't acceptable for you, what you will do, what you won't do. So this is what you want to pay attention to when it comes to discipline. We've always heard about discipline in a way that makes it seem like it's a bad thing, or that discipline means that, especially if you were a kid, that you got a spanking. I'm going to discipline you, so it has such a bad connotation. However, in truth, discipline is about you establishing as I said, a work ethic, or establishing a code that's connected to your work ethic, because we're talking about business today. And actually, you know what? Establishing a code that works for your life and really sticking to it. Does it mean you have to be so rigid to the point where you don't allow for anything else? Absolutely not. But your discipline will keep you on track. It will allow you not to deviate and go towards something that's counterproductive to your own success. So discipline is always going to work in business. Discipline keeps you from being distracted, okay? Because even when the distractions come, your discipline says, not now. So discipline is extremely important. And here's one that's obvious. People is a big deal. So that's number 5. And so you cannot have a successful business without people. So you need a team. You need people that, in other words, are willing to work with you. And I always say work with you. I'm not a fan of the phrase work for me, even though you're paying them. So they kind of do work for you, but they work with you in that you guys are a team and you value their input as just as much as, let's say, you would value AI's input. Okay. So with that being said, you also need people who are interested in what you have to offer, people who are interested in buying your product, and people who are interested in paying for your services. So without people who will give you feedback that's outside of your team, because sometimes if you're paying your team, they're only going to tell you so much. Okay, because they don't want to hurt your feelings, because you're paying them and they want you to keep paying them. So you perhaps need some kind of focus group where people are being very honest about what you have to offer. So people are extremely important. The next one is knowing your numbers. You'll be surprised how many people who are in business, and I ask them, do you know your numbers? How much does it take for you, or how many widgets do you have to sell to get to the monetary goal that you set? Well, I don't know. I haven't done that. I just know I need to sell a lot. A lot is not a number. So you need to know your numbers. How many customers do you need? Well, how many of these widgets do you have to produce? So the thing is, know your numbers. And the final one, and this is a big one, it's going to sound like it's not a big deal, but I promise you it is a big deal. The final one is acceptance. A lot of times when the business is thriving, or we finally get past the first 6 things I've mentioned, we have the people coming, they want our product, and then we find it hard to accept the rewards that comes with that. Some of the rewards would be money. Some of the rewards would be recognition. Oh no, I don't need recognition. Here's the reason why you want to accept recognition. It's not about boosting your ego. Recognition kind of puts you out there, and it allows other people who may have never heard of you to get to know you better, and they get to know your product or service. And it may be something that they're looking for, and yours may be the very product or service that they need in order to solve their pain point. Okay, but if they're constantly searching around and they can't find you, then, well, or they can't find what you have to offer, and they don't feel a connection to the person who created it, well, then you're not going to get as many sales or a constant influx of new customers. So don't shy away from recognition and what comes with acceptance. And so we're talking about not just the recognition. We're talking about, as I said, the money. Okay, there's some people, oh, I don't want to make a lot of money. I'm not trying to get rich. Here's the thing. The money's not just for you, and we're not going to get into that today. But what you want to be open to the blessings that come with your business. If the Bible says it's God who gives us the power to get rich. So if God gives you the power to get rich, why are you turning that down? You're turning down a gift from God. And if you say, well, because I don't need that much money, understand this. It also says that God will supply your needs according to his riches and glory by Christ Jesus. But the point I'm making here is that if you have oversupply, the oversupply is meant for you to share with someone else. So it's not just about you. It is about so many others, because in a nutshell, that's really why if we go back to number one, that's why you got the authentically inspired idea, because it isn't just about you. These are the things that work in business. This isn't about going to ChatGPT or Copilot or some of the other artificial intelligence programs, getting it to outline things for us without us first exploring the idea in one of the greatest gifts that we've been given, and that's our minds, without exploring it there, and then going to ChatGPT perhaps to ask for further development or ask it to give an opinion or whatever. Okay. But these are the 7 things that still work in business. And if you continue to use these, or you start using these, okay, if all of this artificial intelligence went away tomorrow, which it's not going to go away, it's only going to increase. But if this all went away tomorrow, you'd still be able to thrive. Okay, authenticity, consistent and focused work, confidence, discipline, people, building your people circle, and knowing your numbers, and finally acceptance. If you do these things, you'll thrive always. Doesn't mean you won't have challenges. Challenges are always going to exist no matter what you do. I have to throw my caveat in there because I don't want to make it sound like it's all going to be nice and rosy. But you know what? Even the challenges, it might not feel good, but it's the thorns on the rose. Okay, so it's all beautiful no matter how you slice it. So at the end of the day, you guys, take a look at your business, see if you're using any of these 7 things. And by the way, if you're missing people and you don't know your numbers, you are probably having some challenges in your business. So with that being said, I want you guys to do life with power, because you're built by design to win.